Let's get started on these positive thought painted rocks by lining out little thought bubbles with a white chalk pencil. So basically like a little cloud, and then with 4 descending sized circles to make it look like a thought bubble. Next, I'm going to take some Liquitex gesso and do a base coat so that the white has a nice strong base coat, and this also helps because the Mexican beach pebbles are pretty slippery and the gesso gives it a nice grip when it comes time to put the paint on. I'm also going to use one of my spongy tools to just kind of get those lines out. You can see the paintbrush lines in here, and the spongy tool just kind of helps even everything out. So I use it with both the gesso and the paint. Now it's time to add that white paint on top of the gesso. So same thing, just painting it on. It's going to give it a nice bright white color. And then I'm also going to come back with that spongy tool again to make sure that the paint lines are all nice and washed out and that it's just a nice smooth surface to start writing on. Now I'm going to take the Posca paint pen, it's a PC 1MR or a 7mm, and just give an outline to the thought bubble and the little white circles that help you know that it's a thought bubble. So these are very simple, it's a black and white design, but sometimes simple is what we need. I got this idea because with some of the things that are going on in the world, things can feel heavy, including our own thoughts, and we put the kindness rocks out in the world for other people to brighten their day. But I was thinking sometimes maybe the thoughts need to start with ourselves. Sometimes we need a reminder too as we're putting it out into the world. So that's where I got the idea for these rocks, was to just put some words and phrases that sometimes I myself might need to hear before I send it out into the world for someone else to find. I also love that this design is so simple and easy. It was very easy to make multiples of these at once, and it's not very complicated. It's very simple, and then you can just kind of Google or look on Pinterest for short phrases or think of things that you might want to hear, and you can add them. So it's positive thought painted rocks. As I was writing on these, I was just aiming for a nice, consistent, all caps print. So it kind of mimics, I guess, almost what you would see in a comic book. So that if you need something to look at as a reference, maybe some kind of comic book font. Before I resin these, I'm going to give them a coat of Mod Podge, and the reason I'm doing this is because when you coat it with Mod Podge, it will keep the natural stone more of a light color. Usually when you resin onto the natural stone, it darkens it up a whole bunch. But by adding the Mod Podge, you'll see that the stone stays a little bit lighter of a color. Here's a comparison of one that has no Mod Podge and one that does. Even though this week's video is short and simple, the design I think packs a positive punch, and it's exactly what kindness rocks are all about. Don't forget to check out some of the other designs, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future uploads. As always, thank you so much for stopping by to watch. I'm so glad you're here, and I will see you next time.